Assalamualaikum, I am Nafisa binti ISMAIL and I will present the introduction. In Malaysia, zakat and taxes are two key financial tools that shape both personal responsibility and social well-being. Zakat, one of the 5 pillars of Islam, requires Muslims who meet certain wealth levels to contribute 2.5% of their wealth each year to the needy. It is more than charity. It is a religious and spiritual obligation that purifies wealth, reduces inequality, and promotes social justice. Taxes, on the other hand, are a civic duty imposed by the government on individuals and businesses to fund infrastructure, public services, and economic governance. While zakat is rooted in religion, taxes are rooted in law, yet both serve the purpose of redistributing wealth and supporting the community. So, what makes Malaysia unique is the way this two system coexist. Zakat payments can be deducted from taxable income, which encourages compliance or reducing the tax burden for Muslim taxpayers. This integration strengthens zakat collections, ensures funds reach beneficiaries, and reflects a balance between Islamic principle and modern fiscal policies. Together, zakat and taxes contribute to social welfare, equity, and economic resilience in Malaysia. That's all from
Next is zakat and tax for individual. So, what is the zakat requirement for individual? In Malacca, Muslims must pay zakat if they meet two conditions, which is nisab and haul. Nisab means the wealth must be at least the value of 85 grams of gold, about 30,000 in early 2025. Haul means keeping that wealth for 1 year. If these are met, zakat al-amal is paid at 2.5%. Muslims also pay zakat al-fitrah in Ramadan, which is RM7 per person. Zakat in Malacca is managed by Pusat Zakat Malacca, or we call as PZM, which collects and distributes it to in need. Next is current practice and tax rebates. Today, zakat payments in Malacca are very convenient. People can pay through counters, already deductions, online banking, do it now, FPX, and even mobile apps. Importantly, zakat also give a tax rebate. For example, if someone pays 3,000 in zakat and owns 3,500 in tax, only 500 goes to LHDN. This prevents double burden and motivates Muslims to pay zakat through official channels. Next, however, challenges remain. Some Muslims still see zakat and tax as a double burden because they are unaware of the rebate system. Other than that, is lack trust in zakat institution. It's leading them to pay directly to asnaf, which causes zakat leakage. And finally, not everyone finds the digital system easy to use, especially the senior citizen. So, building awareness, improving transparency, and strengthening efficiency are key to overcome these issues. Next, I will pass to the next presenter.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is M1BA2723A ZAFRI and I will present to you about the zakat and tax for the corporation. For corporation in Malacca, the zakat is compulsory or mandatory on income from trade, services and also the investments. It applies not only to individual but also to companies, including the government-linked entities owned by the Muslim. As you can see from the news from the Bernama in 2024, corporate contribution in Malacca exceeded RM7.42 million from 13 agencies, showing that strong corporate involvement in contribution on zakat. In terms of taxation, zakat paid to recognized institutions such as Zakat Malacca qualifies for tax rebates under Section 44 Clause 11C of the Income Tax Act 1967. This allows the corporation to offset zakat against their tax liability, encouraging compliance while avoiding the double payment. Finally, zakat also aligns with the corporate social responsibility, or we call it CSR, through mechanisms like wakalah. Companies may channel zakat into community projects such as the microfinance, health, and also the education. This enhances corporate image, fosters social trust, and also uphold Islamic values of fairness and compassion.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Siti MAISARAH binti TUGIYONO and I will continue the presentation. Let's dive into comparison of zakat and taxes for individual. In Malacca, zakat and taxes serve different but important roles. Zakat is a religious obligation for Muslims. Zakat fitrah is paid before Eid for anyone with surplus wealth or food, while zakat ma'al applies to Muslims whose wealth exceeds the nisab threshold for a year. Payments can be made online at Pusat Zakat Malacca counters or through salary deduction schemes. The benefits include purification of wealth, supporting the needy, strengthening social bonds, and also gaining spiritual rewards. Meanwhile, the tax system applies to all residents with income above the taxable threshold. Non-residents are taxed at a flat rate of 30%. Payments are handled through LHDN via e-filing, online banking, or authorized banks. Tax revenue funds infrastructure, healthcare, education, social welfare, and also provide subsidies and reliefs to taxpayers.
My name is Nurul binti NURASHIDEE, and I will present about Zakat in Melaka and tax system in corporation. In terms of eligibility, Zakat in Melaka Corporation, Muslim-owned companies or businesses in Melaka. For tax system, all companies registered and operating in Malaysia, corporate tax under LHDN regulation. Under payment methods, Zakat in Melaka payments made similarly through Pusat Zakat Melaka under Majlis Agama Islam Melaka counters and also online platforms. For tax system, corporate tax payment via LHDN e-payment system, FPX online banking, and also in LHDN offices. In terms of benefits, Zakat funds support the welfare of the Muslim community. For tax system, there are two benefits. One is pioneer status, which is high technology companies may receive a 100% tax exemption. The second one is the investment tax allowance, which is allowance of 60% to 100% on qualifying capital expenditures.
In Malaysia, zakat and taxes are treated as two different but complementary systems. Zakat is a religious duty for Muslims, managed in Melaka by Majlis Agama Islam Melaka through Pusat Zakat Melaka. Each year, a nisab threshold is set. For example, 21,625.69 sen in 2023 to determine eligibility on wealth, such as savings, gold and agriculture. On the other hand, taxation is a legal duty for all residents regardless of religion. It is governed by the Income Tax Act 1967 and administered by LHDN. Anyone earning above the threshold must pay tax, with non-resident tax at a flat rate. Tax revenue is then used for public services such as education, healthcare, infrastructure, and security. Although different, both systems are linked. Under Section 6A3 of the Income Tax Act, Muslims can claim zakat as a tax rebate, which helps reduce financial burden and also avoids double payment.
For the implications of zakat as a religious obligation versus tax as a governmental one, zakat in Melaka is a command from Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, which aims to purify property and soul and help the poor and needy to ease their burden. Next is by paying taxes to support the growth and operation of the country, the roads we travel on, the schools our kids go to, and the hospitals where we are treated are all made possible by taxes. The third point is zakat relies mostly on the believer's sense of faith and conscience. Lastly, taxes, compliance through laws, penalties, and audits to ensure everyone pays their fair share. That's all for me. I will pass to the next presenter.
Current practice of zakat and tax for individual in Melaka. So in Malaysia, zakat and tax system operate in parallel, but many individuals still face challenge in fulfilling both obligation effectively, particularly in state like Melaka. So one of the main challenge is a lack of awareness and understanding among Muslims regarding zakat eligibility and calculation method. So despite effort by Majlis Agama Islam Melaka MAIM, many individuals still confused between the different types of zakat, such as zakat fitrah and zakat on income, leading to a non-payment or underpayment. Second challenge is a perceived redundancy between zakat and tax. So some Muslims believe that paying zakat should exempt them from paying income tax, which is not the case under current law. While the Malaysian tax system allows tax rebates for zakat contribution, full exemption is not granted, causing dissatisfaction among Muslim taxpayers. These often result in a lower zakat compliance, as individuals may prioritize compulsory tax obligation over religious one. Additional is the fragmentation of zakat administration contributes to inefficiency. So in Melaka, as in other states, zakat is managed at the state level, which can create inconsistency in how zakat is promoted, collected, and distributed. Unlike the centralized tax system administered by LHDN, which is Lembaga Hasil Dalam Negeri, the decentralized nature of zakat management can lead to lack of coordination and trust among the public. Next is the digital challenge still exists. While Melaka has introduced online zakat payment system, elderly individuals and rural communities often face difficulty effectively accessing or using this platform effectively. So this digital divide hampers zakat collection among those who prefer traditional method. Next is a challenge of current practice of zakat and tax for corporation in Melaka. The first issue is zakat payments by corporation are not fully recognized as a tax rebate under the Income Tax Act 1967. So this discourage corporate zakat payments since company may prefer to prioritize tax obligation that are legally enforceable. So as noted by Hassan and Rasia 2011, the current system only allows zakat to be deducted as a business expense rather than providing a full rebate, creating a financial disincentive. So this imbalance reduces corporate motivation to contribute to zakat unless driven purely by religious commitment. So there is also a lack of a uniform framework for a collaboration between zakat institutions and the Inland Revenue Board, which is IRB. So according to Ahmad and Wahid 2005, the absence of integration in data, sharing payments record and also in auditing process between these two bodies lead to inefficiency and also a potential of double payment. So this disconnect others confuse cooperation on their actual obligation and also discourage seamless compliance. So many corporate managers, especially in SME in Melaka, have limited knowledge about how zakat interacts with the tax policy. There is a highlights that the awareness level of zakat as a financial obligation is much lower in corporation sector than among the individuals. So furthermore, corporate staff often do not perceive sufficient training or guidance on how zakat payments can be efficiently promoted or incorporated into financial planning. Also, corporation, especially those not strongly driven by religious identity, often view zakat payment as non-essential. So as observed, zakat is not perceived as a providing a tangible return on investment or business benefits. So in the companies, they tend to favor initiatives that yield branding or financial rewards, which zakat currently lack, and due to a weak promotion and also recognition of mechanism.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nursyamimi binti KHAIRULFIZI and I will be presenting about the solutions to overcome these challenges for individuals and corporations. For individuals, we can overcome these challenges by starting an extensive educational campaigns by explaining the various forms of zakat, which is zakat on fitrah and zakat on income, by collaboration with mosque, school and media. Next, LHDN and MAIM should explain the connection between tax and zakat by informing the people about the tax exemption on zakat payments. Moreover, to improve zakat administration coordination, they should move toward a partial federal centralization of zakat policy. Then the next one, to overcome the digital gap, they should provide physical zakat payment kiosks in remote locations in Melaka for elderly and digitally challenged communities. Lastly, by providing an accessible website can improve the cooperation between tax and zakat so that people can see their tax and zakat contributions in one location. And now, solutions for corporations in Melaka. Policymakers should advocate for full tax rebate on zakat payments through amendments on Income Tax Act. And then, the next one, LHDN and MAIM should clarify the tax rebates on zakat contributions through their official statements on their website. And then the third one, by establishing a formal framework for cooperation between Pusat Zakat Melaka and LHDN can enhance efficiency. Last but not least, MAIM or Pusat Zakat Melaka can introduce awards or certification to the companies that pay the zakat as a recognition for their contribution. Lastly, they should do a corporate awareness and training by conducting seminars and workshops targeting SMEs and corporate accountants in Melaka.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nurul NAJWA. To conclude, zakat and taxation in Melaka show how religion and civic duty can work hand in hand. Zakat help purify wealth and reduce poverty, while taxes support schools, hospitals and national development. Through zakat rebates, Muslims avoid paying a double burden, creating a more balanced system. However, challenges remain: low awareness, trust issues, rural digital barriers and limited benefits of companies. Moving forward, stronger the education campaigns, digital innovation, fairer tax rebates, and better cooperation between Majlis Agama Islam Melaka and LHDN are needed. At the end of this presentation, zakat ensure wealth sharing and taxes build the nations, and together they create a fair, inclusive society. So Melaka can truly serve as a model for Malaysia and beyond. Thank you.